apparently, even when he heard that his paintings had been taken off and put back into this art summit, he had reacted very gracefully to the entire occasion. So that, in a sense, also reflects what you've been discussing with other people, which is this is a man who was full of life, who was very, very curious as a person. Age was merely a number for him. And really, art was really his life. He breathed art, he woke up to art, and this is the sense that you've said. You've spoken to his muses, you've spoken to his lawyer, you've spoken to people who've known him for years. The common theme here is that this is actually a very gifted, special person, and the loss is not just to the art world. It's much larger in terms of icons in this period.
Exactly. He has so many facets to his personality that we can really perhaps just keep on discussing every single facet in detail. Fatima, do hold on. Seher, I'm going to come back to you. You know, he was a man, the way people have been describing him, the way you've been describing him as a vivacious, as a very lively, full of life person who, who really stood for that saying carpe diem, live for the moment, live by the day, really. And of course, he was also on the same side. He also had a lot of problems that he had to face. Did you ever feel that these aspects of his life, of his personality, were really translated onto the canvas as well?
Well, I don't think we saw a hint of that on the canvas because the kind of projects that he was working on, which was about the history of Indian cinema or the history of the Indian civilization or even the Arab civilization, which was the latest project that he was working on in Qatar for the royal family there, for the Qatar Museum. There was no regret. I mean, he had gone on record and apologized for hurting people's sentiments. He said that there's such a huge uproar and it's hurtful to me, and I do apologize if people's sentiments have been hurt by certain artworks that I've done. Though he made it clear that his intention was certainly not to hurt Indian sentiments because he was such an Indian to the heart and had such a great love for the country. So there was no regret, but yes, we did get an official apology from his side. But he wasn't the one to really kind of get into a shell and live a life of a loner. He was out there. He was working on projects. He was always looking ahead. That's just the most beautiful part of him. He was just always looking ahead. Even for someone, a man like him, who's at the age of 96, 97 years old. I mean, we know what happens to people in old age. They always start looking back and thinking about life that has been spent. But he was just always looking ahead. And there were also a lot of attempts that were made by the artist community and also certain sections of the media to start this campaign to bring MF Husain back. I remember we at CNN IBN had done a huge campaign. We'd also had talks with the government.